saying present. Councilmember Remley,
Present.
Ronayne,
Present.
Lunsman,
Present.
Reif,
Present.
Johnson,
Present.
Reinbold,
Present.
Langer,
Present.
Rux,
Present.
Mayor Schoeneman.
Present. Please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can I get a motion to approve last week's minutes for the meeting of August 31st, please?
Moved. Second.
Got a motion from Councilman Lunsman, a second from Councilman Reif. As we have people on the internet, we will take a voice vote on each item here tonight. Karl, can you give me a vote, please?
Councilmember Remley,
Aye.
Ronayne,
Aye.
Lunsman,
Aye.
Reif,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Rux,
Aye.
Mayor Schoeneman.
Aye, motion does carry. Next, we've got an official proclamation, City of Aberdeen, South Dakota. I'm going to read it off here. Whereas the highly skilled firefighters, paramedics, and emergency medical technicians of Aberdeen Fire and Rescue play a critical role in the health and safety of all people living in and visiting the City of Aberdeen and Brown County. And whereas these incredible professionals risk their lives, bodies, in responding to daily calls for urgent assistance in combating the threats of destructive fires, and whereas these frontline protectors work tirelessly to serve our community and mitigate the harm to people and property for the devastations of fires and other emergencies, and whereas most recently the dedicated men and women of the Aberdeen Fire and Rescue have made significant contributions and immeasurable sacrifices during our region's response to the coronavirus pandemic, one of the most daunting and demanding challenges the United States has ever faced. And whereas we should recognize these heroic men and women for their efforts to deliver life-saving care and compassion to neighbors and strangers alike. And whereas our community gratefully acknowledges that Aberdeen is a safer and healthier place because of their duty and sacrifice, and whereas acts of kindness and appreciation from our citizens provide needed encouragement and support to the men and women of the Aberdeen Fire and Rescue. Now therefore, be it resolved, I, Travis Schoeneman, the Mayor of Aberdeen, do proclaim September 18th, 2020 as Aberdeen Fire and Rescue Personnel Appreciation Day. I encourage the citizens of Aberdeen, South Dakota to take time out of their day to say thank you for your dedication to our community and to do something special to show the firefighters, paramedics, and emergency medical technicians of Aberdeen Fire and Rescue and their families how much we value their service and protection to our city and county. So, thank you very much for joining us here today, Joel. I see that you're on the agenda a little bit, but have you got, if maybe afterwards we can take a picture with this, that'd be great. Thank you very much. We'll move along to the open forum. We have one signed speaker. We've got George Dell. And there's a podium in the middle. And make sure that that thing is on. I'm not sure if that type of microphone has a green light or not.
Well, I've just got a couple of questions. One is when and why, when are the railroad crossings on North Roosevelt going to be fixed? They're terrible. I think I've emailed you a couple times in the last year. And another is, when they laid the asphalt down 8th Avenue, why would you leave a bump like that you have to go over? Why wouldn't you taper it off?
Well, George, I guess in response to both of those things, when you're talking about North Roosevelt, are you talking about crossing the railroad, how the drive of crossing the railroad, or are you talking about the medians?
I'm talking about the railroad crossing up there that goes to the soybean plant.
I tell you what, I think maybe might be a good opportunity to address both of these things, because the guy that's here, maybe perhaps after the regular meeting agenda items, before we're set to adjourn, I can have Robin speak on both of those two items. Our city engineer would probably be the best guy to answer those things. I have checked out, I thought that you were talking about Dakota Street at first, and we had been doing some communication on that, and we had taken care of that to everyone's satisfaction, to my knowledge. But I guess North Roosevelt still has some room for improvement in terms of the drive over the railroad tracks.
I think so. One other question.
May I, Mayor? George,
Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, go ahead. So I'm curious about the tracks. Like you, I drive over them a few times each day. I haven't noticed a problem with the tracks.
You don't have any, you don't see any problem with
No,
it?
but I darn near rattle my teeth when I drive over that bump
Yeah.
that you referenced. But what about the tracks? What's the issue with the tracks? That they're not smooth?
Well, I don't think it's the tracks. I think it's the, according to my engineer across the street, he thinks it's the, not the railroad, it's the asphalt, or the
Okay.
cement.
Okay. Well, I'll be curious to hear about that then as well.
One other thing is, why did you move the farmer's market out of the central park over here, moved it down to Melgard? Now they're all over the place, and I just don't understand why they were moved out of the central park over here.
Well, that was an operation of the Aberdeen Downtown Association, and I think that in the meantime, Natural Abundance took them over and made that decision. So I'll be happy to reach out to Natural Abundance and figure out what their thinking was on that. In terms of the city's direct involvement in the farmers market, we've actually had none. It was always a spearheaded effort of the Downtown Association at first, and now the private business Natural Abundance. But I'd be more than happy to communicate with those guys and get a sense of how it's going and what they're...
They're all over the place. I asked the one Hutterite colony, Grassland, and he said they were over there on 6th Avenue, and he said, well, we're here till we get kicked out. So I don't understand it. And then when they were down in Melgard, somebody had to ring a bell at 2 o'clock before you could sell.
George, I'm sorry I don't have better information for you on that. I've never attended the farmers market since it's left the downtown area, and I guess I was in a little bit of, I guess, hearsay has led me to believe that Natural Abundance now runs that operation, but I'll be happy to pass along your information to them so that you can communicate with them.
Mayor?
And I'd be happy to ask.
Mayor, if I remember correctly, I read an article that Natural Abundance wasn't going to organize the farmers market this year at Melgard due to COVID, and so these other farmers markets just sort of popped up on their own.
Sure, so this might be just an entirely organic operation. What time do you see them out there, George?
Well, they're not in Melgard that I know of. They're all along 6th Avenue and over there by the twist cone.
Oh, you're talking about just private sellers selling
Well,
those type of goods?
Yeah, the colonies and private, yeah.
Well, something to consider. So I guess the solution from your perspective would be to reorganize a farmer's market in a centralized location.
Well, someplace where they can have this here was perfect over here, I think.
Yeah, that's a great suggestion, George. I'll see what we can get figured out on that. And at the end of the meeting, Robin will be here, and we can chat through a couple of those things. I hate to give too much time in the open forum segment because we have a couple of issues that are going to kind of run long for us here. But I appreciate you bringing those issues to our attention, and we'll definitely discuss.
Okay. You don't need me anymore?
No, sir.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll move along to our old business. First, we've got an agenda item, public hearing on the 2021 Capital Improvement Program motion to take off the table for consideration. Can I get a motion to remove that Capital Improvement Program motion from the table?
Moved.
Second.
Got a motion from Councilman Ronayne and a second from Councilman Lunsman. Karl, would you give us a vote to remove that item from the table to discuss?
Councilmember Rux,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Reif.
Aye.
Lunsman.
Aye.
Ronayne.
Aye.
Remley.
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion does carry. Next, we'll have the possible approval of Resolution 200802 with or without amendments to the capital improvement program. And Karl, will you be spearheading the discussion on this for us? Or Joe, why don't you take over from here?
Sure. I'll go ahead and start. As a reminder, there's a required public hearing for the capital improvement plan each year. That was held on August 3rd. Then this was tabled to allow some discussion time over the work sessions, which capital improvement plan was thoroughly reviewed on August 10th. At that time, you proposed moving forward as it is. So what we'll ask you to approve tonight is unamended. It's as it was presented initially, but just as kind of a reminder for all of us, there's some things in the capital improvement program that initially we cut back a little bit, and at your direction, we're leaving those out, but with the concession that towards the end of 2020, beginning of 2021, we'll come back and revisit a couple of those, in particularly our annual street maintenance programs, and see if there's what our financial situation is at the time, and maybe if there's a way to expand a couple of those. But staff has recommended approval, and this is as it was presented.
Move to approve.
Move to approve the capital improvement program in its present form.
Seconded.
I've got a motion from Councilman Johnson and a second from Councilman Ronayne. Does anyone have any questions for Joe or anyone else on these on the specifics of that? I know we did discuss it at length over the course of a couple of meetings. Otherwise, Karl, give me a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Remley.
Aye.
Ronayne.
Aye.
Lunsman.
Aye.
Reif.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Reinbold.
Aye.
Langer.
Aye.
Rux.
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion does carry. Next, we've got the discussion and amend 2021 promotion fund allocation. So, Joe, what can you tell us about where we stand with that?
This is something that was tabled from the last meeting. And at the last meeting, it was presented together in one motion to talk about the 20 and the 21. Your direction was to split this up a little bit, so you've had an opportunity to look at your allocations and make some reallocations based on a budget of $1.1 million for 2021. And I believe Karl has been working on those. You turned those in today for the most part. So, Karl, do you have any sort of update you can provide us?
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
may I?
Please.
Thank you. I do have 8 of the different council members' recommendations loaded into my fancy spreadsheet here with a 2021 median calculated for each of the different groups. Currently, the Sertoma Club median is $42,500. Aberdeen Arts Council, $20,000. Aberdeen Community Theater, $17,500. Dakota Prairie Museum, $10,000. Wiley Park Fireworks, $5,000. Presentation, $12,000. Aberdeen Community Concert, $2,000. Storybook Land Festival, $1,750. Zero for Habitat for Humanity. Aberdeen BMX at $20,000. Boys and Girls Clubs operational, 0. Aberdeen University Civic Symphony, $2,000. Annual website maintenance for the city's website at 0. Chamber of Commerce, $15,000 for membership. Marketing at the Chamber of Commerce, $107,500. Chamber Share the Spirit at 0. Aberdeen Convention Visitors Bureau at $435,000. Aberdeen Downtown Association at $100,000. Aberdeen Development Corporation at $7,500. Boys and Girls Club Building Campaign at $100,000. And NSU Capital Campaign at $185,000. That number totals to $1,082,750.
Is that something you can circulate, Karl?
How about if I print that out? While you folks.
Would it be
hold any
possible for you to email it to me real quick?
Oh, sure.
Or me and Mark?
Actually, I'd rather have mine emailed to Karl.
Okay, that's what we'll do then. We
You're doing
do file, share.
And one of the good news is that's within your budget of 1.1 million. So that's the important part doing this right before we start talking about the budget is we will hope to amend that to that number. So we are within that. So I don't know that we need to pick at the individual appropriations yet. We'll probably need to take a little bit of time on that. But knowing that we're within the budgeted amount, I think is comforting. So as long as we're within that, if you wanted to table looking at the individual appropriations.
Well, whatever we do tonight, Joe, this is not a final vote on the budget anyway. So we can adopt this and we can amend the specifics
Correct.
down the road.
Yep.
So on that basis, I would move to approve these calculations as presented here tonight.
Second.
And Karl, just to clarify something for me, it sounds like all the long-term capital campaign contributions that were, spoken for in their full amounts.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes.
Okay.
Nice.
Does anyone else have any questions as it relates to these median values?
There was some communication during the week since we last met regarding using a total of $1,060,000, and that may have some merit. And so, adopting this tonight sounds great, but perhaps also circling back and reviewing some of those potentials to reach that target might also be useful.
Appreciate those comments, and I agree with that. We need to trim another 22,000 off of this to make the entire package work.
So where does that put your motion then?
Stand.
It's still on the floor.
Sounds good. Then we've got a motion from Councilman Ronayne and a second from Councilwoman Tiffany Langer. Karl, give me a voice vote, please. Roll call vote.
Councilmember Rux,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Reif,
Aye.
Luck, Lunsman,
Aye.
Ronayne,
Aye.
Remley,
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion does carry. Next, we've got the discussion and amendment to the 2020 promotional fund allocation. Joe, I'll let you speak on that then.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is something that's, again, from discussion last week, grew a little bit. You had three proposed scenarios in front of you, and based on some discussions during that meeting, some questions, and some follow-up questions through the week, I've proposed a fourth scenario as well, just to muddy the waters just a little bit more here. But it was actually a pretty good combination of the first three scenarios in that it does balance the budget with a little bit of additional city funds. Initially, we'd proposed a balanced alternative of using $50,000 of city funds. This one increases that to $75,000, and as Councilman Johnson mentioned, also requires pulling back $40,000 out of the 2021, and then that gets us going in at a balanced amount. And really decreases the amount of cuts that need to be made in 2020. So that was the fourth scenario that's in front of you tonight.
Move to approve what the city manager referred to as the 2020 hybrid model, cutting $53,000 from the 2020 allocations, transferring the $75,000 in reserves from the 1% sales tax, and premised on carrying over a $40,000 deficit from the 2021 promotion fund balance.
Second that.
Got a motion from Councilman Ronayne and a second from Councilman Johnson. Does anyone else have anything to add or any questions to ask? Otherwise, Karl, roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Remley,
Aye.
Ronayne,
Aye.
Lunsman,
Aye.
Reif,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Rux,
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion does carry. Next, we've got the consent calendar. We've got 5 items of routine city business, possible approval. Can I get a motion to approve these consent calendar items?
So moved. Second.
Got a motion from Councilman Reif and a second from Councilman Lunsman. Does anyone have anything on these? Otherwise, Karl, roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Rux,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Reif, Lunsman,
Aye.
Ronayne,
Aye.
Remley,
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion does carry. We'll move along to our new business segment. Our first item of new business is ordinance 200903, the 2021 city budget ordinance, possible first reading of that ordinance. So, Joe, will you be spearheading this discussion? Looks like
Yes.
presented by you or Karl.
In front of you, you have the ordinance. As we've discussed, this is the first reading. We'll have probably a couple of smaller changes as we get into it before the second reading, but just as a bit of a recap, again, you were given the budget to review on August 3rd. A special session, or a work session, excuse me, on the 17th, really went through that. Didn't make any changes at that time. Again, much like the capital budget, I think this is important for the public to know, is that there have been a few things cut from the budget, mostly capital items for the most part. Not really a lot of big cuts, but something that, again, as we move into 2021, we'll look at again and potentially bring back at some point in time and ask if it's a good time to put those back in or not. If the budget's not looking good, then we won't do that. So there is that concession there. But just briefly to go through the ordinance, as this is the first reading, to give folks a little bit of a thought process on where we're at. The general fund budget that really takes care of a lot of general services and essential services. As far as the 2021 budget, we're proposing $26,690,025. That's general fund is a piece of the entire budget. When we add all the special funds and different things, especially several TIF funds into it, total budget in 2021 proposed of $69,131,415. So again, the only thing really we need to look at a little bit is changing the promotions fund number, which was in at 1.128 million. That will come down a little bit. And looking in at the revenues, showing a fairly balanced budget, $69,287,000. So a little bit, almost $160,000 cushion. So almost a perfectly balanced budget. And then one thing to point out of that general fund of almost 26.7 million, the general fund tax levy will be 9.852. So really only about a third of the general fund comes from property taxes. And that's a little bit unique. Oftentimes it's up around 50%. So we have a really good balance between property tax and sales tax. That's good news, I believe, for the citizens. I believe you're getting quality services and not just paying for it only through the property tax. So we present this as a balanced budget and ask for your approval of the first reading.
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion from Councilman Johnson and a second from Councilman Reif. Questions from the council? Like Joe said, we had done a very thorough job of dissecting this at a previous meeting. So, Karl, give me a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Remley,
Aye.
Ronayne,
Aye.
Lunsman,
Aye.
Reif,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Rux,
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion does carry. Next, we've got the hearing on retail on-off sale wine and cider license and the retail on-off sale malt beverage and South Dakota farm license for Dagoberto Rodriguez Escamilla, doing business as Los Primos Mexican at 719 North Main Street. We have possible approval of that wine and beverage license.
Moved.
Second.
Got a motion from Councilman Ronayne and a second from Councilman Reinbold. Karl, give me a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Rux,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Reif,
Aye.
Lunsman,
Aye.
Ronayne,
Aye.
Remley,
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion does carry. Next, we've got the agreement for licensed emergency medicine physician to direct ambulance protocols and oversee program training and supervision of paramedics and EMTs of the Aberdeen Fire and Rescue. Possible approval of the medical director agreement between the City of Aberdeen and the Bear St. Luke's, designating Kevin D. Oliver, MD, as the medical director for the Aberdeen Fire and Rescue, and authorize the city manager to execute the same as reviewed and approved by the city attorney. Joe, I see you're here today. Would you care to speak on this?
Sure. Good evening. We're looking at progressing Aberdeen Advanced Care into the future, and I think Dr. Oliver can take us to that direction. He's an emergency doctor. Not that Dr. Redmond has done anything to us in the past. He's been a great help to us over the years since 2005. He's been our medical director, but him not being an emergency medical doctor and more of a family specialist, I think Dr. Oliver can take us into the future as far as advancing our protocols and our training and things that go along with that. Any questions?
Move to approve.
Okay, thank you.
Second.
Got a motion from Councilman Ronayne and a second from Councilman Reinbold. Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Weig? Chief Weig? All right, then Karl, give me a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Remley,
Aye.
Ronayne,
Aye.
Lunsman,
Aye.
Reif,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Rux,
Aye.
Mayor Schoeneman.
Aye, motion does carry. Next, we've got the retirement and surplus of 4 police duty weapons. Possible approval to allow the police department to surplus 4 Glock pistols to Sodak Sports for $250 per pistol. And Chief McNeil, are you on the internet?
I am. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you, Mayor. As you stated, we're looking for the approval to retire and surplus 4 police duty service weapons that were issued to officers that have since retired. These weapons are 10 years old. There's a lifespan many times on police equipment, including weapons. We'd like to take those to Sodak Sport for $250 a piece, which is the market value of these weapons.
Move to approve.
Second.
Second.
Got a motion from Councilman Ronayne and a second from Councilman Reif. Any questions for the chief? Otherwise, Karl, give me a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Rux,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Reif,
Aye.
Lunsman,
Aye.
Ronayne,
Aye.
Remley,
Aye.
Mayor Schoeneman.
Aye, motion does carry. Next, we've got bid recommendations on the airport improvement projects. Number 1, AIP taxiway geometry improvements. Possible approval to tentatively award the AIP project to the lowest bidder, Sharp Enterprises, Inc., out of Fort Pier in the amount of $2,883,732.03, contingent upon the receipt of a good faith DBE effort and receipt of the FAA grant offer, and to authorize the city manager to sign the FAA grant offer and necessary paperwork. And the second, we have a snow removal equipment, high-speed rotary snow blower. Reject all bids for the high-speed rotary snow blower due to issues with the AIP grant funding for the equipment as set forth in the bid specifications. Mr. Krokel, are you on?
Yes, I am. Item 7E1, we'll go with that one first. We had our bid opening on August 27th. We had 4 bidders on that. Sharp Enterprises was the lowest bidder on that out of Fort Pier. If you recall, for the taxiway geometry project, this was the project that requires no city or state share. This is a fully funded FAA project.
Move to approve it.
Second.
Item,
Okay, we'll just do them as line items then. Sorry, Rich, hang on for us 1 minute while we get a vote on the first one. We've got a motion from Councilman Johnson. Was that you, Dave?
Yes.
And a second from Councilman Lunsman. Karl, give me a roll call vote on item number 1.
Councilmember Remley,
Aye.
Ronayne,
Aye.
Lunsman,
Aye.
Reif,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Rux,
Aye.
Mayor Shonneman.
Aye, motion does carry. Rich, we'll kick it back to you to tell us what happened with this snow blower situation.
Okay, so item 7E2, we opened bids on 825, and review by the FAA ADO revealed that there were certain bid specs that did not meet the criteria to be eligible under the FAA grant. So on review with city attorney, the ADO, we determined that we should reject all bids, and we're either going to re-bid this with a different bid spec, or we can go through a purchasing agency permitted by South Dakota codified law.
Move to reject all bids at this time.
Second.
Got a motion from Councilman Johnson and a second from Councilman Ronayne. Karl, give me a roll call vote to reject these bids.
Councilmember Rux,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Reif,
Aye.
Lunsman,
Aye.
Ronayne,
Aye.
Remley,
Aye.
Mayor Shonneman.
Aye, motion does carry. Next, we've got payment requests for the work on the airport improvement projects. We've got payment 1, master layout plan to Helms and Associates for the amount of $1,171.65. We've got payment 2 to the Cultural Resource Survey, Metcalf Archaeological for $26,306.52. Payment number 3 is to Helms and Associates for Taxiway C, and that's $25,534.50. We've got a payment number 4 for the Taxiway C to Reedy Construction for $377,036.52. We've got payment 5, Taxiway Geometry to Helms and Associates for the amount of $23,340.52. And finally, a payment number 2 of the snow removal equipment to Helms and Associates for $2,625. All right, Rich, back to you.
Okay, item 7F1. This is for the master plan. We're about almost 97% complete with this one. This is just for some administration costs. Do you want me to go through all of those, or do you want to?
Nope, go ahead. Yeah, one by one.
Okay.
We'll vote on the whole package there, Rich, if you want to just briefly tell us each one.
Okay, I misunderstood. 7F2 is payment to Metcalf Archaeological. This is in association with the master plan project. Their original bid came in at almost $39,000, so I guess they walked the airport a little bit quicker than they thought they were gonna, but they walked every inch of the airport, and they found a couple of buildings that were of ours that are of historical significance. So when it comes time to do work or replacement, we're probably going to have some historical things that we're going to need to work through. Item 7F3 is construction administration and resident engineering. That's for having an on-site registered engineer out on Taxiway Charlie project, monitoring and doing his daily log out there. 7F4 is work completed to date, and you can see all that work, or all the materials under the pay estimate. And that's 90%, 5% city and 5% state. Item 7F5 is taxiway geometry improvements. This is to pay Helms and Associates for the work to date that they've done on putting together the plan for that. And item 7F6 is to pay Helms and Associates for assistance in writing up that bid spec for the snow removal equipment.
Move to authorize all 6 payments.
Second.
Got a motion from Councilman Johnson and a second from Councilman Ronayne to make those 6 payments for the airport. Karl, would you give me a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Remley,
Aye.
Ronayne,
Aye.
Lunsman,
Aye.
Reif,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Rux,
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion does carry. Next, we've got payment number 2, the City Hall roof replacement, Rote Roofing Incorporated, possible approval of payment number 2 in the amount of $37,626. And Robin, I see you making your way to the podium. Tell us about the roofing project. How did it go?
The project went very well, with probably the exception of a little wind while they were doing some of the demolition. We ended up with some materials that did blow off the roof and surprised some people. We had some insulation stuck in trees, but wind does blow here, and that's part of construction in South Dakota. But it did go very well. We had a nice rain yesterday, which tested it. Normally we go for months or years before we get the next testing rain. We got a little bit yesterday, and no reports of leaks that I'm aware of. So I think we're very happy with the outcome and recommend approval of payment.
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion from Councilman Lunsman and a second from Councilman Reinbold. Karl, would you give me a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Rux,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Reif,
Aye.
Lunsman,
Aye.
Ronayne,
Aye.
Remley,
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion does carry. Next, we've got the change order payment for street maintenance, concrete repairs. Number 2, possible approval on change order number 1 in the amount of $24,757.55, and payment number 2, the amount of $125,874.26 to CWF Masonry and Construction.
The work is primarily done already. The change order this is a different type of contract than a lot of your road projects. We have to do an estimate of what we're going to do, and then as the project progresses, we have to go out and mark things so as we see things pop up. So there's not an exact quantity when we put it together initially. So that's why you see more. It's more likely to have change orders on this so we can reconcile those quantities in the field. Project went very well this year, and we're in pretty good shape this is actually for next year's startup for the street crew, and we recommend approval of payment.
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion from Councilman Lunsman and a second from Councilman Ronayne. Any questions on the change order? I think you did a good job of explaining it, Robin. Karl, why don't you give me your roll call vote?
Councilmember Remley,
Aye.
Ronayne,
Aye.
Lunsman,
Aye.
Reif,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Rux,
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion does carry. Next, we've got payment number 1 to the water treatment facility sheet pile dam repairs to B&B Contracting of $342,340. Approval of the payment for that work completed. Robin, tell us about that.
You have some photos in front of you of the progress of that project. Couldn't have gone probably better for us. We were fortunate we were not in the middle of that project when we got the big rain up at Elm Lake a month and a half or so ago. The sheet piling went in about as well as you could have expected. Those are 40-foot long sheets. Wow. So that second picture, you'll see a 40-foot tall sheet that was driven in almost to full depth. And then they drove them as far as they could. And then there was a line that we struck on the sheet pile, and they used a cutting torch and they cut those to exact height. And if you take a look at the tail end of the pictures, you can see the water's going over about as uniformly across each one of those sheets as you possibly could get. You don't have water going over 6 inches on one side and stuck behind the sheets on a different part. So it was done very well. We're really happy with how it turned out. The only thing that remains on that, we still have to connect the overflow pipe. We have a control pipe that we will be able to lower water levels from behind that dam. Right now, the only way to control that level is by shutting off upstream water from one of our other dam structures. So That is the only thing remaining to be done on the project, and we recommend approval of this payment.
Move approval.
Second.
The motion from Councilman Johnson and a second from Councilman Reif. Karl, would you give me a roll call vote on this payment, please?
Councilmember Rux,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Rife,
Aye.
Lunsman,
Aye.
Ronayne,
Aye.
Remley,
Aye.
Mayor Shonneman.
Aye, motion does carry. Next, we've got the approval of the bill list for September 8th, 2020, as in your packet. Can I get a motion to make these bill payments?
Move to approve.
Second.
The motion from Councilman Lunsman and a second from Councilwoman Langer. Karl, would you give me a vote, please?
Councilmember Remley,
Aye.
Ronayne,
Abstain.
Lunsman,
Aye.
Rife,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Rux,
Aye.
Mayor Shonneman.
Aye, motion does carry. Next, we've got the city manager's report. Joe, it's all yours.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of things. Today, want an opportunity to celebrate on Friday afternoon. Captain Eric Duvin is retiring after 25 years of service to the police department, so having a little reception from 1 to 3. I provided that information in my packet, but just a congratulations and thanks to Captain Duvin for his service. And then the second thing also, law enforcement related, but in the world not near as exciting to talk about. But, for several months, we've seen lots of things going on in the nation regarding social and racial injustice. And I'm a big football fan, and especially college football. And so I'm excited it's here. But this is really one of the things that Minneapolis and Chicago and Kansas City are very different than Aberdeen. But one thing that we do have in common here is with some of these cities is at this time of year we bring in many students to our two universities, both Presentation and Northern, that come from those places, and they have very different experiences than we're used to here. And I just wanted to give a little bit of a shout out to Chief McNeil and his staff. There have been some discussions already with both universities because this is an opportunity for us to realize our students come here scared sometimes with some of their perceptions that are very different than what they would likely ever encounter here. But we're taking those very seriously. We're having some dialogues. And really, a big talk has been about training, and we're looking at big training and little training, just opportunities, and the chief has made some changes there to allow some staffing, a little more time, and just normal training, because there's things that happen daily that we may think of in one way, but a young black male or female may think of in a very different way. And so we're really trying to make sure we're serving our entire community, and the chief has really taken a strong leadership with that. And luckily, we have very strong partnerships with our two educational institutions here. And we're having some dialogues because those folks aren't used to police chiefs or ranking city officials coming in and talking to them about their thoughts. So we're really taking a proactive approach on that, and just wanted to thank Chief. And I just feel it's something that the council needs to know is going on within our staff.
Nice job, Chief. Second those sentiments. Robin, if you wouldn't be so kind as to make your way back to the podium, and we just very briefly address those 2 points of concern that Mr. Dell had brought up at the very beginning of this meeting. He said there's a very rough spot on 8th Avenue.
There is. The entire length along the new section of Roosevelt going north. So as you're southbound, I believe is what he's referring to, as you hit 8th Avenue. That construction, of course, it's two different constructions. So the concrete construction that was done a few years back was done at a different time than the 8th Avenue piece. What we have there is probably likely just a little bit of movement, either 8th Avenue is going up or Roosevelt's going down, probably a combination of both. When we did the 8th Avenue mill and overlay, we actually milled right alongside of the concrete on Roosevelt to make sure that we had a nice gentle taper going into the concrete pavement. Some movement has taken place. I've talked to the crews. What's going to have to happen is we're going to have to shut down Roosevelt for a period of time while that construction happens. And we all know that people love to have roads shut down. So it's pick your poison. When do you want to upset somebody? It may not be everybody. There will be a lot of people that will be very appreciative, but there will be some people that are inconvenienced because they aren't able to go on their normal route. The same type of thing is going on with the crossings, especially southbound on Roosevelt. The difficulty that we had, if you'll recall, going into last fall, when the crossing material was put in, that was probably as smooth a crossing as we had in town. It worked perfect. They were within a half an inch of their concrete surface with our concrete surface side to side. And the level was perfect. The railroad did a fantastic job with it. But we were wet all last year. And those soils underneath our road are not rock all the way down. So ours is going to move different than what theirs is. And so kind of the same theme. You've got some soil movement, and our road lifted up with frost over the course of the winter. And so by January, we had a, 1.5 inch lip adjacent to their crossing. Their crossing did not move. Our pavement moved. A lot of times it will go back down, and it did go back down substantially, but it's not perfect like it was before. Part of the problem with our pavement and their crossing being so close together is there's no room for anything without us taking out a chunk of concrete and putting in some kind of asphalt transition. And there again, that being another material is going to move a little bit, and we're probably going to end up with some low spots in that. So we would have to shut down Roosevelt again to make those things. We were hoping that would eventually go back down to where it was nice and level, but it has not gone all the way back down again.
So do you foresee it kind of being a seasonal problem? I mean, is that out of place for a substantial amount of time when it heaves up due to the frost?
Normally those things will, if they're going to go back down, they'll go back down by mid-June, early July, where we'll be back. And then if we go in, if we have a dry fall like we've had all summer, you won't have that moisture in the pavement to raise that pavement up. But last year was so wet that we went into the fall with wet pavements, and that's why we got such a horrendous shift in that pavement.
And the actionable item there, if we were to improve this thing structurally, would be to grind off some of that concrete and put asphalt
We'll probably
on.
have to cut out.
Right.
We'll chop out some concrete, probably 3-4 feet of concrete, so that we can do an asphalt transition between the two.
And then what sort of a length of a project is something like that? For how long would that shut down the
We'd be
road?
out of business for a day.
Oh,
You know,
that's pretty good.
as long as we're not putting concrete back in, of course, it's going to take a lot of cure time, but
And was he saying that was 8th and Roosevelt, so it was one and the same problem that he was bringing to our attention?
well,
wasn't a
one is
second.
at 8th Avenue. The bump that he was talking about was at 8th Avenue southbound by Louis Service or the pit stop. That's as you're crossing 8th Avenue. That was one bump I believe he's talking about, and then the other one was the crossings. And actually the one down at Milwaukee is not substantially better. That one probably should be cut back and done too.
Thank you very much, Robin. Did you have a question?
Yeah, I'm just curious. Do I understand from you, Robin, that changing or fixing the one that is in the street itself, that's kind of on the docket?
Yes.
Okay, and the other one really isn't budgeted for or planned at this point?
Most of that would be done by our own crews. So
Okay.
it's not, it's just a matter of scheduling it in and getting it done. We try to find a time where it's not going to, we're not catching the 8 o'clock traffic for the high schoolers going down to Central or that type of thing. We try to catch it in between.
Great. Thank you.
Anything
Mayor.
with farmer's market? Can you?
I have something on the farmer's market, but I do have a question for Robin. This is unrelated to any of this stuff, and I genuinely apologize for springing this on you, but I don't expect an answer tonight. I did just get contacted by somebody about Dakota Street, that area that you guys had just done, about a light that's missing, a crossing light. I don't know if anybody's heard of this, but there was one, and it's not there any longer.
There was a four-way flasher.
A flasher, yes.
Yes. And that is something that actually is not conforming to the manual on uniform traffic control devices. So if we were to put it back up, I believe we would be in a position where it does not meet standards, and Mr. Wagner could be very busy because of that.
Okay.
We are monitoring it. I've heard a couple comments on it too.
I heard to go there at 7:30, and you'll see kids playing Russian roulette with cars coming.
Well,
so
they-
that wasn't a great thing to hear.
They have a flasher. They push the button, the flasher goes, and they can cross safely, or
Okay.
they should be able to cross safely. That, just like the one at the YMCA.
Okay.
So those flashers are there. We also installed one down by Simmons on Fifth Street. That it is a change, which is difficult sometimes. We also installed one up by Holgate. So the lack of the four-way flasher probably is not as dangerous for the pedestrian as it is side street traffic now no longer has the protection of that four-way stop for that 20, 30 minutes in the morning that they were used to.
Is this 18th and Dakota that we're talking about?
Yes. And we are monitoring it. I just,
Okay.
I need to find something different than what we had before,
Okay.
or our attorney's not gonna be happy with me, so.
Thank you. And on the farmers market, the downtown association.
Thank you very much, Robin.
Oh, sorry. Would you guys like to hear
No,
about
go
it?
ahead.
The downtown association gave that up a few years ago because they just don't have the manpower. And Natural Abundance did take it over, but was kind of looking to hand it off to someone else. And so apparently Shelley had been contacted again. And again, she just doesn't think they quite have the manpower. So if anybody is looking to organize a farmer's market, there's quite a business out there for you, apparently. So it's on the market, literally.
You're funny.
You
That's
know.
a pun, I think they call those. All right, then I'll take a motion to adjourn, and Chief Weig, if you'd stick around, and any council members that would like to be in this picture, we could use that to take a photo with the new fire chief and hopefully promote our appreciation day for the fire and rescue folks. Motion to adjourn.
Moved.
Second.
Got a motion from Councilman Ronayne and a second from Councilman Reinbold. Karl, roll call vote.
Councilmember Remley,
Aye.
Ronayne,
Aye.
Lunsman,
Aye.
Reif,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Rux,
Aye.
Mayor Schoeneman.
Aye. Motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you very much.